The head of the Pakistani Army's media wing, the DGISPR, says that the Masood Azhar-led terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed does not exist in Pakistan. Yes, you heard correctly. The Pakistani Army is denying that Jaish-e-Mohammed has a presence on Pakistani soil. Jaish-e-Mohammed is the terror outfit that claimed responsibility for the Pulwama attack in Jammu and Kashmir last month. DGISPR Major General Asif Ghafoor said, and I quote, "The claim has not been made from within Pakistan because Jaish-e-Mohammed does not exist in Pakistan. It has been proscribed by United Nations outside Pakistan. Also, we are not doing anything under anybody's pressure," unquote. Ghafoor's comments seem all the more strange since they are contradictory to those of Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Only a few days ago, Qureshi confirmed in an interview that the Jaish chief Azhar is in Pakistan and that he was receiving treatment for an illness. In another interview, Qureshi spoke of the Punjabi government taking over the Jaish Nerve Center in Pakistan's Bahawalpur and also admitted that people in Pakistan are in touch with Jaish-e-Mohammed. Azhar's brother and son were placed in detention just yesterday as part of Pakistan's purported crackdown on terror. And today, the army is denying the existence of Jaish in Pakistan. The anti-terror financing watchdog is not satisfied with Pakistan's progress on promised action against terror, and Pakistan is well aware. Arif Ahmed Khan, Pakistan's finance secretary, has warned that the country might face economic sanctions for not implementing the Financial Action Task Force recommendations. He said that the time has come for Pakistan to take strict measures. He said that the country had to take action against the banned outfits. The International Cooperation Review Group of the FATF reviewed Pakistan's action plan in recent meetings. The FATF is not pleased with progress on milestones set for January 2019. This despite improvements in the anti-money laundering, combating of terror financing and integrated database for currency declaration arrangements. The FATF has urged Pakistan to swiftly complete its action plan, particularly those with timelines of May 2019 to address strategic deficiencies. The FATF will undertake the next review of Pakistan's progress in June. In the last 24 hours, Pakistan has violated ceasefire along the line of control multiple times. In the view of the violations, Indian Army has now warned Pakistan's army. Indian Army has formally warned Pakistan against targeting civilian areas along the line of control. The Pakistan Army has violated ceasefire over 60 times during the last 1 week by targeting over 70 civilian and forward areas. Ceasefire was violated along the line of control in Poonch, Rajouri, Jammu and Baramulla districts of Jammu and Kashmir.
The Indian Army has said that during last 24 hours, the Pakistan Army has continued to shell not only the Indian positions, but also the civilian areas in Sundarbani and Krishna Ghati sector. Now remember, these two are the sectors which have been most affected by the ceasefire violation that has been continuing since India carried out deep strike inside the Pak territory. Now the Army has also said that they have not targeted any civilian areas across the line of control in the Pakistan area, and they have been trying to maintain a restraint to target these civilian areas. They haven't really targeted any civilian areas. So that is where the civilian relocations have been carried out by the administration in Sundarbani and Krishna Ghati sectors. These two are the sectors where ceasefire violations have been taking place, and that is why these civilian populations have been moved to different areas along the line of control. They have been moved to safer places, and now in Uri, people have moved to the areas which are really relatively calm. They have voluntarily left these areas, although there was no official announcement by the government that they should be relocated, but they have on their own left their villages after some shells landed in the residential areas. Remember, 4 lives have already been lost and several have been injured in continuous ceasefire violation by the Pakistan Army Chief Bipin Rawat also visited the line of control not only to boost the morale of the forces but also to keep an eye on the prevailing situation that has been occurring since now more than a week on the line of control. The army has said that Pakistan has been using heavy artillery to target not only the Indian posts but also the civilian areas. With camera person Feroze Shanwani for Wion, World is One.
A new U.S. visa policy has reduced the visa duration for Pakistani citizens from 5 years to just 3 months. After the Pakistani government decided to decrease the visa duration and increase the application fee for U.S. citizens, the United States government, in a tit-for-tat move, has announced that visa duration for all Pakistani citizens will be reduced to 3 months. Not just civilians. The new visa policy will be applicable to Pakistani journalists too, who will be issued visas for only 3 months. As part of the policy, the cost of each visa application has gone up from $160 to $192. Remember, in May last year, the Pakistani Foreign Ministry had announced travel restrictions on U.S. diplomats after the U.S. imposed similar restrictions on Pakistani diplomats that month amid the rocky ties between Islamabad and Washington. Now, Pakistan's all-weather ally China is back to its rescue. As global pressure mounts on Islamabad, China has now sent its vice foreign minister to Pakistan. China claims that they have sent an emissary for communication with Pakistan on the ongoing tensions with India. It says that a sound relationship between India and Pakistan is required for a stable South Asia. Jumping to Islamabad's defense, Beijing encouraged Pakistan's efforts in combating terror.
它之间出现这个当一段时间以来出现的这个情况，确实是我们不希望看到的。中方致力于维护地区的和平稳定，我们希望看到印巴作为两个中方的好朋友，能够保持一个睦邻友好的关系。那么是不是会谈到反恐的问题？相信你也注意到，近期巴基斯坦方面在打击恐怖主义方面做出的很多重要的表态。那么事实上也是与巴基斯坦方面一直以来为国际反恐事业、为打击恐怖主义做出的政策选择和做出努力是一脉相承的。我们认为呢，国际社会应当对此予以客观的评价，予以鼓励。我们也希望有关各方都能够形成一个良好的一个有利的氛围，能够使巴基斯坦方面同巴基斯坦方面和同各方一块合作，能够形成一个国际反恐的合力。
Onto a development that is not going to go down well with US President Donald Trump. According to a new report, North Korea has restored a part of a missile launch site that was earlier being dismantled. A recent briefing by South Korea's spy agency noted that North Korea has started restoring structures at its Sohae satellite launch station. The North had previously started to dismantle the rail-mounted transfer building on the launch pad along with the engine test stand last year. But based on commercial satellite imagery, efforts to rebuild these structures started sometime between the 16th of February and the 2nd of March. 2 support cranes are visible on the launch pads. New walls appear to have been erected and a new roof added. At the engine test stand, it appears that the engine support structure is being reassembled. 2 cranes are present and construction material is visible too. The news comes days after a second summit on denuclearization was held between Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, this one in Hanoi. Differences had arisen between the two leaders on how far North Korea was willing to limit its nuclear program and the degree of US's willingness to ease sanctions. Trump had said that the North Korean leader had promised that a major missile engine testing site would be destroyed very soon. Trump did not identify the site, but according to government sources, Trump was referring to the same testing site Kim Jong-un is rebuilding. We spoke to our Seoul correspondent, Bruce Harrison, earlier. Let's listen in.
Well, not necessarily. One of the U.S. think tanks that produced a report based on these satellite images, the CSIS, Center for Strategic and International Studies, did suggest that Kim Jong-un, because of the no-deal situation in Hanoi, was perhaps trying to make some sort of signal that he was dismayed, that President Trump was not meeting his demands at that meeting. But that's simply an interpretation of this situation. At this time, we don't know too much about the development on the ground in Dongchangri at the Sohae satellite launch facility. We do know that in 2012 and 2016, this was a facility used to test satellites, launch satellites, and we also know that North Korea used this facility to test missile engines, engines that were used for its ballistic missiles. So two different purposes. I think the more concerning would be the ballistic missile testing, but at this time it is still quite unclear what exact developments taking place and if North Korea is returning to a situation where it may begin testing again. It's unclear at this time.